Powered Down is the name of our exercise.
Oh,
Um,
that's clever.
yeah. Um, so here's some of the goals that some of you sent in, and I just wanted to quickly read them off to give you guys ideas about maybe goals for your hub. Set up the hub so you can see what works and what doesn't. Some of the hubs are so new, they have never put their gear up before, so that's kind of a big deal. Encourage each team member to learn at least one new thing and report back afterwards. So, and we will talk about having a debrief after your drill. Make the hub visible so that, neighbors know that we even exist. Get one radio message through to the sector. So that hub is obviously concerned about their ability to radio. They wanted their hub volunteers to interact. They want their hub manager to get in a rhythm of checking in on each tent. That's a very specific goal, and it makes a lot of sense. I really liked that one. Recruit and train 8 to 16 neighbors to operate the hub. So that's just, fill in all the holes before we get started. Through advertising and word of mouth, have another 12 plus neighbors visit the hub to see what it's about, and then learn strengths and weaknesses before, during, and after this practice. So really just kind of, kicking all the tires. Did anybody else have any goals they wanted to share? A thought I had too was, I know some of the hubs are like smaller boxes and you're struggling with canopies and that kind of stuff. I don't think it's unreasonable to borrow gear for that day and show your neighbors what it could look like if, like, neighbors had donated canopies or whatever. Cindy has something like 16 canopies. We can certainly distribute those out amongst all the hubs beforehand. So you could do it either way. You could borrow gear to show people what it could look like, or you can make do with what you have so that it's maybe more realistic. But there is that thought of making sure that you guys have everything that you want, whatever that is. Does everybody have, we now have 6 self-help posters. Does everybody have all 6 of those? I know that the 6th one we haven't even gotten printed, but one of my goals is to make sure you get it. But does everybody have the 5 printed? Does everybody have zip ties to hang them up? Whatever it is you need, let's definitely talk about swapping gear around to make sure that you show people what's possible, if that's what you want to do. And Jody, I would say for you, maybe a goal is to have an Amazon wish list prepared and ready to go when neighbors come up, so that you've got, like, your pre-greeter is saying, everything you're seeing here is lovely, but some of the stuff is borrowed. If you've got, a couple extra bucks, take a look at our wish list, and maybe they can purchase something off that for you. Any thoughts? Yeah, go ahead, Louise.
I don't know if this fits here, but it's a thing I have anxiety for, and that's all the forms. And which forms are we putting all those forms on the table, or a few to give it that would do a completion kind of a transaction? And the last one we did, I tried to make them smaller so they fit in the pockets, so there wasn't a folding issue with trying to get things in and out. But and I've made a list for each job of what their forms are and put it on the back of their lanyard. But still, it's like 4 or 5 forms per person.
Is it really?
It just seems, I don't know, it seems a lot.
Okay.
And some people have none, but some people have quite a few. So
right. Okay. Let's one of these times we get together, let's talk forms. Let's make sure that everybody's using the most current, or whatever it is, the one you want. Let's make sure that we're not duplicating. I personally don't have tons of forms printed for my hub. I should get on it. So I'll do it at the same time you guys do, so that I'm not behind.
On the individual binders, there's a paper clip at the top of the pages, meaning this is a form. There is a form here. And then Colin copied 50 or 100 of each of them. And those are in separate binders marked with which binder they go to in our administrative box.
Yeah.
So that they can be given to those task leaders as they show up.
kind of to tag on to that, Jody, I know one of the other hubs, Madison Park, has done a really good job of creating, I think they call them bags, and I gotta say they're just large Ziplocs, like maybe 3 or 5 gallon Ziploc bags. And in that, or maybe even a 2 gallon Ziploc bag, in that they have the job description, they have a vest, they have the lanyard, they have the forms. I think that's most of it. It's the paperwork that job needs. So when they unpack the box, they pull out this, they call it a bag, I think, the job bags, and they hand it out to each of the volunteers. And then that volunteer goes to their table or their area and starts looking through that plastic bag. So that's a thought. And I'm happy to send out what Sarah Armstrong has shared from the Madison Park Hub. I want to say she calls them, maybe it's a quick start guide for
Well-
each job versus a quick start guide for the box.
And the other stuff. The other thing that I did that I'm finding helpful is on the front of the binders where it lists what the job is, I put the number up in the corner. 1, 2, you know, that they're prioritized.
Oh, okay.
So if the number's up in the corner, it's easier to keep track of where it is in the priorities.
You mean if 4 people show up at the hub, those are the first 4 jobs to fill?
Yeah, and in the book, it has them prioritized with a number, and I thought it was important to keep track of that. So I just wrote that on the front of the binder. But
That's a
and
good
we're working-
idea.
I have a bunch of vests left from my peacekeeping days.
Jody, while you're on that topic, I just wrote myself a note to let you guys know that we do have stencils. They're homemade stencils. They're not fancy. I made these out of, like, I don't know, sheets of laminate or something like that. But for exactly that, it says like greeter, hub manager, and so
Okay.
I sat
Great.
down in front of the TV with a cutting board on my lap, and then the vest, and then the stencils, and I just highlighted, black magic marker, permanent marker, and put that on the back of the vest, so that
Okay,
you can tell the volunteers apart from the back, at
right,
least from the back. So I'll make those available to anybody that wants them.
great.
Okay, so
I think
let's.
those are all good examples of how to handle all the various forms. I think ultimately you don't have enough paper. Ultimately, you don't have enough something. So someone's suggestion of having a laminated, each form laminated or in a sleeve, which to me is really the bottom line, is you just have that. And then regardless of what the situation is, you have a form.
Yeah.
Even if somebody writes on it, you have a form because it's
right. Does anybody need anything laminated? I'm happy to do that.
It just seems to me that the more we can be obviously prepared and have our shit together, that will inspire people more to be part of the hub and to let other people know about it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I personally think the 4 canopies goes a long way towards that. If I walked up to an area and saw 4 canopies and a bunch of people walking around with orange vests with names on the, labeled, I would go, oh my goodness, these people know what they're doing. Very reassuring. So yeah, same point, Jody. So I am still working on goals for the network, but this is kind of what I've gotten so far. Successful transmission of a boil water alert from the Emergency Operations Center, that's what the EOC is, to all participating hubs, with that message being posted to the information area. So the way to prove that happened is at the end of the exercise, maybe if I can get my stuff together, I will text out to all the hub captains to say, hey, don't forget, take a picture of your information board. And then I just want to know that made it on there. And then we'll have some idea of how the radio system is working from the EOC down to the hubs. And then the second goal is a successful transmission of one neighborhood specific radio message from each hub through the sector up to the EOC, the Emergency Operations Center. And, I'll find out if that happens by checking with the ACS members sitting in the Emergency Operations Center. So I'm kind of concentrating on radio for a little bit. I would like for there to be a successful transmission of the blank bridges, whatever ones are down from one hub to another. So this is hub to hub traffic. And I don't know who this will be because I don't know what bridges will be impacted by a power down. Maybe all of them, I don't know. But I'd like to see some hub to hub radio traffic. And then number 4 is posting of this new poster that we just got funding to have it printed and translated. Having this medication poster up in all of the hubs that are participating, and ensuring that several of the scripts that we have give the education officer a chance to look at that poster. So it's a little bit about powers down, how you're going to keep your insulin cold. Does it have to be cold? How do you, some ideas for powering medical equipment. The idea that we have always preached this idea that if a big disaster happens, just take your pill bottle to the local pharmacy and they will refill it. And we have learned that that is so far from the truth. That is not going to happen. Pharmacies are not going to open up for many, many, many reasons. They can't see what they're doing because there's no lights in the pharmacy. Their pill counting machines don't work because there's no electricity. There's zero, their security system, like if they have narcotics or whatever in the pharmacy, that's all messed up and they can't play with that. They can't get the bars up over their windows. They can't check with your insurance company to find out if you really are on this medication, or are you getting too much of this medication. They can't check the databases to make sure that this medication they're refilling for you is not going to interact with something else you've gotten. So there's a gazillion reasons why it isn't going to happen.
They also don't have it because
or they don't have it. Exactly. We also found out that pharmacies are on a just-in-time supply system, just like so many other businesses that we found out during the pandemic. So this idea that you can walk down to a pharmacy and get your medications, it's not going to happen. So that's one of the big things on this poster. It's one of the reasons why we did this poster. This has been given to the Office of Emergency Management. They have a monthly meeting. It's called the Disaster Management Committee, the DMC. It's every like the 4th Thursday or something like that. Anyway, Cindy and I went, and I think there's actually going to be folks from, city departments actually coming to a hub drill this year. I'm thrilled. So power down, what would you do if all power and normal communications were down? What about your household? Come, check out the hubs. I see your hand, Matt. Give me just a second. So this map that you're seeing on the poster is actually an interactive map. If you click that, you go to My Maps. It's just a site on the internet, and you can click on your particular hub and get more information. Okay, so that I wanted to point that out, that this map is interactive. I need you guys to double check the addresses here. I think they're mostly correct, but I'm hoping all of them are correct. Down here, bottom right, where it says sign up to attend the hub location nearest you. Yes, that QR code goes to there's one website and all 11 hubs are on there, and you all have spots for people to sign up. And these are just general neighbors signing up. These are not hub volunteers. That's a totally different system.
Yeah, I was just thinking related to the network goals, and you mentioned EOC being possibly on site. Will there be, if not anybody at the EOC, will there be somebody pretending to be the EOC so we can practice passing that traffic to and from?
Yes, they'll
But
either
even somebody
physically,
anywhere just with a walkie-talkie can just say this is the EOC.
They'll either be there or they'll be pretending to be there.
Okay.
Will we get the list of who signed up?
Yes.
Will those posters be distributed to us to put around, or are they posters?
It's just a PDF right now. I haven't really thought about how to print them, if printing is even helpful. So much of what we do anymore goes out, digitally. If you have places you want to post them, I think we can make that happen.
I would say about a half dozen. I'm thinking library, community center, and the schools that are in my neighborhood.
Basically took the poster and put it up on the front page of the hubs, the
Like a
network
little
website.
kitty that's,
Okay, so like I said, you're going to have 2 signups. One is to send out, we're going to blast it to the entire city, basically. The hubs are having a drill. Please find the hub that's closest to you and sign up,
yeah,
and you'll get a reminder to come. And then you guys will have an individual hub, a sign up form to get somebody in all of those spots that you want. A greeter, a pre-greeter, hub manager, education officer, all that kind of stuff. And it's all described. You know, if they can research what does an information officer need to know, what's their job, they can research it before they put their name down. And then they will get the reminders as well. One of the things, and Linda's not on this call, but she and I were talking about this, and she said, "Ann, this looks great," because I showed her version of it. This looks great, but she wanted 2 pre-greeters and 2 greeters. I'm like, yeah, no problem. I'm happy to make that change. She also didn't want a medical officer. She wanted to recruit that person organically if some healthcare person came up.
yeah, that's a good idea.
You know, you could start off with all of your roles filled. You could start off with none of them filled. You can modify it however you want. Just let me know what you want. I'm happy to make changes.
What form are we working off of for this?
This is on the internet. I use this tool a lot. It's called Sign Up.
Sign Up Genius?
It's similar. It's Sign Up. Sign
You
Up
just
Genius is like its competitor. Yeah,
Oh,
they're basically the
okay.
same thing. Bill, let's say you had a friend who was going to be your radio assistant. You would send them a link, and this is basically the page that opens up, and I'm going to scroll up on it. All of the jobs, the roles, the 12 hub jobs are all listed here. They're in alphabetical order. This isn't anything I did or can change. But if I was to click on education officer, the top one, and I'm clicking on show more, that's basically the job description for the education officer. You can either put somebody's name in there or you can ask them to do it. And you don't,
Okay.
if you don't want to use it, you don't have to. I think it makes it easier to manage who you have and who you still need. The other thing is all of your roles, 12 roles for 11 hubs, they're all going to be available under one link. So somebody that's like a really strong hub person can look through all the different hubs and go, I really want to be the, I don't know, the reunification officer this time. Who needs a reunification officer? They can look through the different hubs and go, oh, I'll go to that hub because that's what's needed. So it's a way for our fellow hub captains and hub volunteers to plug themselves into your schedule as well, into your lineup. Making sense?
Well, it seems to me that the first option should be to get someone who's from like
Your
Ballard
neighborhood.
to do
Exactly.
ours,
Yeah.
rather than get someone from far away, because
Yes.
that person comes and does his bit, but at the Ballard level, we haven't
Recruited.
trained or further
Yeah.
trained someone.
Sure.
So
And this will definitely go out to you guys first. And then a
Okay.
couple weeks later, the thought was to send it to the hub captains to backfill.
all right,
If you
that's a
don't
good
want to
plan.
play with this system, then that's fine. You can keep track of it however you want.
Okay. Yeah, getting it to us first, I think, gives us a first crack, and then if there are, and there probably will be holes, then getting someone else in from somewhere else who has the experience, and then we could always give them a person or two to mentor so that they can shadow this person.
Exactly.
So we are gaining skill and knowledge.
Yeah. And emphasize they don't need to be an expert. We're not looking for
Yeah.
perfection. We're just looking to help. There's very few wrong answers in the hub.
Yes.
So the last thing we were talking about was promotion strategies. Anybody got any earth-shaking thoughts about how to get the word out? Facebook, Nextdoor, those are always good.
We're going to be doing 4-ups, quarter-page leaflets at the Sitten Mai Tog, the Norwegian Constitution Day parade.
Okay, so any kind of public events, that's really a good idea. Those take a lot of energy. You know, frankly, it's a whole lot easier to sit in front of my computer and post it out on Facebook or whatever, but probably very effective. Any other, like I said, any other big ideas of how to spread the word?
Well, we had a lucky incident happen. There's a small hardware store in our neighborhood that's posting on their master billboard that they put for public, which is
Lovely.
fabulous. They've never done that before. And you can see it for miles away, probably. So
Oh my gosh. Oh, you mean like an electronic board?
no, it's letters. On
Okay,
a grid.
okay.
But
But
it stands
yeah,
above it stands above the building.
yeah. Oh, that's fabulous.
Yeah, it's old school,
Wow.
but new school.
Yeah. What, Louise, what's the wording that they're going to use? I'm just curious.
It's not for this.
Oh, okay.
It's for, we're giving a prep class, and it says disaster prep 7 p.m. LCC, which is our
Okay.
community center. And I'm
Right.
trying to think of the wording we can use exactly to go knock on their door and say, can we do that again? And
Right.
can we do it forever?
Yeah.
But they have been good about posting in store also. So they've been
Yeah.
great supporters.
Louise, something to think about. It's a lot of letters, but like saying hub drill, nobody driving by is going to understand what a hub drill is. But disaster practice, I use that term. Again, it's a lot of letters, but that might convey what it is you're trying to say. I was just imagining, how do you get across the hub drill message on a board like that, on a signboard?
I think disaster practice is basically period, paragraph better. So many neighbors have said to me, drill and captain sounds military, and they hate it.
Yeah.
And they say, can we please can we be something besides captains and do something besides drills? And so I have said, and I think you probably started it and planted it in my head, disaster practice for almost everything this
Yeah.
time. And
I think it is
I think it makes a
softer.
difference.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a much softer. Yeah. If I
But
had
it
to
also
do it,
says what it's about. I mean, you have a better idea of what it's about as well.
yeah. If I could go back in time and redo the banners for the skills fair, I would not have used military. It's called stencil. The lettering that I used on the skills fair banners is very Army. It's Army green, it's Army lettering. It made sense to me at the time. I'm a military, I did the Navy thing. So yeah, but I have heard more than once, it's a little off-putting, especially in Seattle. It would fly big and in Illinois, I'm telling you, we'd be popular, but not so much in Seattle. So we're still on clever ways to get the word out.
I don't know how you do this personally because I'm technologically challenged, but several people have found various little groups meeting digitally in our neighborhood that we didn't know about before. And it's just kind of stumbled upon them, and we've had people be a part of them briefly to see what it's about and to then message what we're doing. And if I interrupted you, Bill, I'm sorry, excuse me.
Thanks, Louise. Go ahead, Bill.
Well, I was just going to say, Frank is going to reach out to the Magnolia Community Club. They used to be called a council, now they're a club, I guess. And I'm, of course, directly involved with the Public Safety Committee of the Queen Anne Community Council. And so I'll be reaching out to them as well to try to recruit as many council members, community council members, to get involved and know of this. And if anything, maybe just show up to understand that this is what we offer here in Queen Anne. At the same time, probably through Paula, who's now the chairman of the community council, through her, reach out to the Magnolia News and Queen Anne Dispatch. It's our little local rag. And if anything, we'll probably get a couple line promotion, the fact that this is going to happen at some point.
We
We-
just hang on just a second, Jody. For all of you that are trying to convince people to come, really hit home the fact that we don't do this all the time. This is a once a summer kind of event. We really, we didn't do much during COVID. I think when you stress, look, you don't have a zillion chances to do this. You need to get off the stick and you need to take advantage of this. I think that message is A, true, and B, really powerful. So I would not be afraid to force the issue a little bit.
Maybe
I
we
did it
should
with
use the word annual somewhere.
Oh, that's a good thought. Yeah.
The other thing I was going to say is I went up to the library and we now have a big display at the library, the Ballard Library. They had a big pocket thing that it's longer than a foot. It's got the hub brochures and the SNAP brochure and all those things and the what to do when the earth shakes and all. And they're going to keep that stuff for us. And we could put up a poster above that about June 11th.
That's a good idea. We could maybe use the little libraries too to put out information.
Yes. Oh, that's a great idea. And you'll hit a lot of people with very little effort.
I did that in my neighborhood. And I knocked on the door for every little library to ask permission and
Oh,
left a note when I didn't find anybody home. But the mistake I made was I was just asking for one event, our skills thing. I should have said, can I always put disaster preparedness
Yeah,
info up on your little library?
that's a good thought. Yeah.
Yeah,
If you're
and
gonna
then
make
the
go to
other
the effort.
mistake was have them take it down, because now I had to go back and take it off.
So are we going to be on day 2 or 3 or something? Is there
Oh.
been a defined
Yeah,
event description?
probably a long-term, a significant power outage, like no power in Seattle, period. We don't know the cause. We were going to do a cyber attack. That's too scary. We were going to do a solar flare, solar storm. That's a little hard to explain to folks. So I think it's just going to be, there was a significant power outage on Friday. It is now Sunday. There could be fires in some places because the firefighting equipment in the building, sprinklers and that kind of stuff doesn't work without electricity. Power's down. We don't know why. The message is from the EOC will be that we have no idea when it's coming back up. We will probably get a boil water alert. I just learned
Okay.
today that we are very lucky in that our water system is 90% gravity fed. So water will get here from the watersheds to Seattle, but treatment centers, so treating the water and pumping it to individual houses is still dependent on electricity. So all of their treatment processing plants have generators, and I think I wrote down they will be able to distribute water to houses, to almost all houses. So we will have water during this exercise,
oh, wow.
but
It
we
needs
will,
to be boiled.
more than likely, yeah.
Uh-huh.
We're going to say that the city's going to tell everybody to boil the water or sterilize it in some way. It could be bleach or something like that. I'm going to see if I can't push the city to post that out, to send that out in languages other than just English, but not sure I can succeed at that. But so boil water will be in effect. I learned that wastewater, so sewage, isn't helped by gravity as much, but we're not all sitting at the bottom of a hill. So gravity or sewage will most likely flow away from our homes. The problem is there's 67 pumps that move sewage along. There are not 67 generators to keep all of those, that sewage moving along. So the Seattle's public utility, their plan is to move these generators from one facility to another. And basically, this is my understanding, is our sewage goes into a big tank. And then when that tank's getting full, somebody's going to yell and go, I need a generator. And somebody will drive them a generator. So it's kind of a whack-a-mole kind of situation.
Hmm.
Absolutely, positively, if we have a power outage, we are going to accidentally dump sewage into our bodies of water. There is just no way
Yeah.
of preventing it.
Yeah.
So that will happen.
I have a question about water. So
Mhm.
I understand that the Roosevelt Reservoir, which is about 2/3 of a mile from my hub, was kept in a reserve capacity. So it's uncovered. It can't be used for potable water, but they say it's for emergency use. Do we know what that means? Is that likely to be like a water distribution point where they're going to have trucks there that are pumping water out of the reservoir and distributing it to people? Because
Maybe
Yeah.
for
could
putting out,
impact us
they may be
directly.
putting out fires.
That's kind of
Yeah.
what I'm thinking, because I don't know what else you could use it for. If it's
Yeah.
not treated,
Yeah, putting out fires.
yeah, that's a great question, Matt. It's a very specific question. Maybe we
Mhm.
can
Yeah.
get some answers to that. It'd be a fabulous thing to educate to educate anybody in the North End about. And there
Yeah,
may be same kinds of things in the South End reservoirs.
Yeah, I think for us in the Roosevelt hub, we're just a few blocks away, so there
Yeah,
could be significant traffic impacts if like fire trucks are coming there all the time. Or if
right.
there's-
Yeah.
Hmm.
The other thing that will happen in this exercise, and the city already has this plan where if there's something big, like it's a earthquake or a big power outage, they basically commandeer all the gasoline in the city.
Oh.
You can't pump it out of the ground because you don't
Mhm.
have any electricity, and B, they're not going to let you get to it because they need it for hospital generators and fire station generators, and keeping these sewage pump generators running. So all the gasoline in the city is going to be spoken for.
Now this should all be diesel though. So were they clear about that?
I
Because
know,
pretty
I
much all
didn't even
industrial
think to ask.
generators are diesel because it doesn't age like gasoline. Gasoline's
Okay.
only good for a few months, so you can't really store
I
it.
didn't ask, Matt. Why weren't you on the call with me?
I don't know.
And
was around the top.
I'm really good at saying things like, what am I not asking you that I don't even know to ask you? And I've still got nothing. But the other thing I learned today was that schools, if there's no power, schools will be cleared out like immediately. And
Mhm.
it's not, because I'm thinking, well, if you have a window in your classroom, why can't you keep teaching? The issue is all the life safety systems, the sprinkler system, the smoke detectors, the fire extinguisher stuff, all that goes out if there's no power. So they can't legally have the kids in the building. So they will all be sent home just because of a power outage, even though water and toilets are still working. I thought that was interesting.
That
And even
wasn't
though
true
parents
in
might not be able to get to them.
Yeah.
in
And I
2001.
haven't.
That wasn't true.
Oh, is that true? Yeah.
I was still stuck in school.
Wow. Maybe. Well, yeah. No, we didn't care about you that back then, Matt. Kids are
different
more
these days.
precious now. Yeah, they're more fragile.
Man.
So
And I
there's
don't know
also.
Oh,
Go ahead.
I don't know if you talked about this, but this isn't my neighborhood, but maybe some neighborhoods have kids clubs like Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts who could be invited to come to the fair as participants.
Oh, yeah. So I'm in touch with a couple Boy Scout club troops or whatever, because we've just worked with them in the past. But if you can think of anybody in your neighborhood, absolutely. Boy Scouts, and I think even Girl Scouts, they have a preparedness merit badge they have to earn. And one of the ways they earn it is coming to one of these drills. So definitely reach out to them. And all you have to say right now is please save the date, and then I'll get you more information. Yeah, they're fabulous for this. I've had them work in skills fairs. So if anybody's got one of those coming up, Scouts are fabulous. Well, they're not fabulous, but they're pretty good.
I'm getting in touch with the Ballard High School as far as their community service requirements to see
Yes.
what we can work up with that.
Fabulous. So
Both
if you guys
for
don't know
the
about
11th
this,
and
Yeah.
and ongoing. It'd be great to
Excellent.
have a high school student tagging along, shadowing every one of our positions on the
It-
11th.
Yeah, it would. So if you don't know, high schoolers here in Seattle have to have, I think it's like 30 to 40 service hours. And I don't think you have to wait till your senior year to get them all done, but I think most kids do. So they've got to find some kind of community service project and get those hours in order to graduate. I think if you have a job, you don't have to have those hours. I think it's one or the other. But anyway, that's definitely a good resource. Okay, it is 8 o'clock. I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to send out a doodle poll and see if we can't find a good time. We're still missing a couple hub captains that I haven't touched base with, and I'm a little concerned that they're just not getting this. But yep, good. I did hit the record button. Okay. Any last minute things?
GMRSnet in 5 minutes.
Oh, okay. Hey, guys, thank you for being on. And it may seem like I am teaching you. I am not. I am learning just as much, and you are keeping me on track and doing the crap I need to do to make this happen. So I really appreciate your time. This is a great learning experience for me.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Take care, guys.
See you next
Bye-bye.
time.
Okay.
All
Bye-bye.
right.